I just want to make the coolest shit possible. That's it. Don't sell. Serve.
We sell websites, we do SEO.
Giovanni is here to help detailers make money.
I built my entire business on being on camera. We're gonna do $5 million this year, easy.
Chris is the founder of 8-Bit Creative and Detailer's Roadmap.
Reverse engineer the life that you would like to have.
And his life seems pretty good these days, making websites for detailers and making speeches at events like Mobile Tech Expo.
There's baby steps to this, okay?
To spread the message of what actually works.
Part of having a successful business is proactiveness, not being reactive. Who wins at life and who wins at business is personal connections and communication.
Chris Giovanni, who are you and what do you do?
I make websites for people. I make websites for detailers. That's all I know.
That's all you know. Is it kind of successful though? I feel like you're like an emperor these days. You're like a kingmaker.
I'm baby.
You're
emperor.
a big deal.
No, not by any means. We operate, or I operate, Detailer's Roadmap. So we make websites and we do SEO and kind of help people and teach marketing for people that want to be better business owners. And that's kind of really key. Even though I used to always say for detailers, and really at the end of the day, it's for people who want to become a better business owner. So we try and make the highest quality website we can. So yeah, we're doing a few hundred per year. It's pretty fun.
Is it fun?
It is. It's the best job I've ever had, which sounds weird because it's the owner saying that. This is the greatest job I've ever had. Really, you own the company. This is freaking awesome. Can I swear? I forget.
Yeah, you could swear. Being the owner is no joke, though.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and still is once in a while. A lot of deep nights, right? So, but that's okay. I wouldn't have it any other way. I really enjoy it.
I first met you when I was with Hawk Pro Detailing, and I was making videos on my YouTube channel, and then you reached out from Oberk Car Care.
Yep.
And I didn't know what your face looked like, but you were super interested in my journey, and you believed in me, and I realized I don't know much about your background. So what got you to Oberk? Like, what was the first, 35 or so years of your life? I don't know how long it took you to get there, but how did you end up in cars? Because I think you're pretty well known now among detailers, and I do want to talk about Detailer's Roadmap, but I'm a little curious. Just get me kind of caught up to
yeah. Long story short, always been in like a brick and mortar or some sort of retail type of business. My dad had a pool table, hot tub, luxury type of service business. My background is graphic design. And essentially, I had always had side gigs. So I always was, if I had a full-time job, I would have an e-commerce company. If I had an e-commerce company, I would go do something else. So David Patterson, who operates and owns Oberk 100% wholly now, was like recommended me to do some like marketing work for Lake Country Manufacturing years and years and years ago.
So you were like, to him, you were a good marketer at that point? Like you had that background?
Graphic design, probably more.
Okay.
And then I actually, during this whole time, I had a full-time job at a director of marketing for like the 5th or 6th biggest seafood company in the nation. So I was doing that, and I was doing side graphic design, website marketing. And then I actually had an agency. I started hiring people during having my full-time job. And so another thing.
Wait, that was your side gig, was an agency?
Yeah. I had a full-time. I had 3 employees during my full-time employment at the seafood company. And
oh, wow. Okay.
David introduced me to Lake Country Manufacturing, who I love, every single day, dear and dear good friends. And they, we started with one graphic project, and one graphic project turned into, hey, what else can you do? What else can you do? And so I just started hiring more people. The agency originally was doing a lot of food and beverage stuff. And then I just loved detailing. And so without going on too many tangents to make it too long, the agency started doing a lot of manufacturer accounts. So like Lake Country Manufacturing, I can say. Auto Fiber is another company I can say. I can't say all of them under still an NDA for another couple of years here. But a lot of film, tint, coating companies would come to me and say, hey, I saw you do this. I saw that. In that whole time that agency was starting to pick up, David said I had an idea for a company. He's like, we're thinking of this. I'm like, you know what? I just did Lake Country's catalog. It's too big of a catalog. It just needs to get down to like a couple products. And he's like, oh, I had that exact idea. And that's how Oberk started. And that took off really quick on its own as well. And I was kind of like the marketing guy for that as well.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were. I just could tell you had really good instincts because I was like, he believes in me, so he's got to have good taste, you know? No, I was just kidding with you.
I love community and like seeing what people can do with it. And I always love feedback. So I loved sending Oberk product to people and then like getting some feedback and like, oh, okay. I didn't like this, or I loved this, or, oh, that's awesome. Have you tried this? And, you know, David was the product guy. I was just the marketing guy. And basically at a certain point, the business was getting too big, that one, where one of us had to do it fully and I had the agency. So it didn't really make sense for me to keep continuing on. And David basically left Lake Country to run Oberk, and he's been doing it ever since. So that's how that started. And
well, the other instinct that I thought was really cool is one time you were doing like a limited release of like shirts. And I remember you were like outside in your driveway and you were talking about this limited release drop. And I just, like I said, I could tell you have really good instincts around marketing. Is that something that you were born with or that you learn?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? You know, nurture and nature a little bit. I truly believe nobody wants your brand until it's cool. And nobody's going to wear DIY unless it resonates with them on a deeper level. And I always thought, why would you make an Oberk shirt or Lake Country shirt or Detailer's Roadmap shirt unless something to that brand speaks to a deeper level? And it just has to be cool to wear, right? So when we did Oberk shirts or even Roadmap shirts, which we have detailingshirts.com, I just want to make the coolest shit possible. That's it. Like the logo is secondary. It kind of speaks to how when we talk about websites and stuff, I don't sell websites. I serve you of what the best way is to build a site. And you can go do it your own, or you can come with us and have us do it. Just like I could show you, you know, cool shirts, but I'm not going to sell you a shirt. You either think they're cool or not, and you move on. And that's kind of how I always kind of reiterate. I can't sell shit. I'm the worst salesman ever. Just like,
really?
You want some of my cool stuff? I got cool stuff. That's about all I got, you know? And if you don't think it's cool, no problem. No big deal.
Well, there's a difference between sales. I hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk about sales and marketing, right? And I like making videos and educating people. I don't like trying to convince you, the person, like, you should buy my product. I like talking about the stuff and showing you how to clean your car and then like letting the magic happen from there. I know it's not that simple, but that's where I prefer to live, is like, I guess, in the marketing side versus sales. I don't even know if I'm getting the names right, but what are your thoughts on everything I just said?
Yeah, I think you and I kind of align on that for sure. It's way more fun to give content and get feedback of what works and what doesn't, and what you like, and kind of analyze that and like, oh, I saw that video worked. People responded and engaged with that. Maybe we should do more content. What do you know? You probably end up selling a lot more stuff than if you were to call each individual person and say, do you want to buy that bottle? Right. It just, people, well, even from a shop owner standpoint, just have conversations, and making engagement does a lot better than probably hard sell, you know, or you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a place for both, right? And I guess I'm just curious. So you're leaving Oberk, you have your side gig. How do we get to the Detailer's Roadmap Mammoth?
Yeah. And I always tell it is like the side gig, 8-Bit Creative was getting really big, really, really big. We were starting to hire more and bring on more people. And
this is on the side, your side business, you're hiring more people.
Yeah. And then still had a full-time director of marketing, you know, job for that big seafood company. And you asked about my watch. And I'm going to bring up the watch. So, I'm not a
This is
materialistic.
before the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, before the podcast.
I said nice watch.
You said nice watch. And
Nice
the
watch,
watch
man.
actually means something to me because it's a chronograph. It has 3 different dials inside of it. And what it is the day I condensed Oberk, my 8-bit creative side and the marketing role, it summed it up into one company was the day I bought the watch. To me, it just means more. I look at it every time and I was like, that was the decision. I decided to take 4 businesses and lump them into one. So to me, always buy something with emotion, right? And you tie it. And now I look at that watch and I'm like, that was the best decision I ever made. So the business was getting big. Director of marketing was always busy. Oberk was busy. 8-bit creative was busy. We had lost, there's a real thing in marketing. It's called a changing of the guard. Let's say you're an agency, you're dealing with a DIY detail, and maybe a new marketing manager comes over at DIY. A lot of times the new marketing manager just wants to shake stuff up, right? And we were part of the shakeup on one account. They dropped us and they said, hey, we don't want to continue.
8-bit or your...
Yeah, 8-bit.
Okay.
And it was a big account and it was like, dang, like, was it me? Was it like I wasn't on top of it? Like the work was excellent. Ironically, 6 months later, they came back and we decided not to continue on. But, I was like, what was it? I was like, I really don't want to feel that pain anymore of like, I gave everything to that account and I got railroaded for whatever reason. And the moment that revenue left, I was like, hey, can we just we know this vertical. I did paint correction products in Oberk forever. We know the vertical from the manufacturer side. Let's just do a couple websites for the next lower in the vertical, like shops, or mobile detailers or film shops or PPF or tint.
You talk about it casually, like, were you convinced this was the move, or were you just like, let's just seriously just try it?
This is like, there's $10,000, $20,000 less coming in per month, let's figure something out. It was just like, we have the time. It was a big account, pull it off. I called Mike Carlin who now owns IGL. And then I called Jeremy Casper up in Minnesota. I'm like, hey, I think your website sucks. I think there's no good options out there. Can I just do a website for you and let me know how it works? And
what year is this?
This would have been in 2020.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I think 2020.
Because this is just about the time my life was falling apart. I was going through a divorce. I kind of
sorry
brought
to
in
hear
a
that.
business partner. No,
Congratulations.
You can laugh. Yeah. So like there was a lot going on. I brought on a business partner and then that kind of faded. So like,
remember that.
I lost connection with you around this time because my life was careening out of control in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And it was a tough year for me. So I remember you from Oberk, and then I kind of like blinked and like looked around, and I saw that you were like running this detailer's roadmap. And so it's good for me to hear kind of how it generated, because I wasn't a student of Chris at this time. I was just head in the sand. I don't know what it was.
And
2020
now you look
was
healthier than ever, by the way, right?
It's this massive.
What a beautiful flower you've turned into.
I did quit smoking cigarettes. That was an important step,
okay.
and the Adderall. Those were both
like
important.
A physical thing might have actually done it too.
Yeah. But anyway, okay. So you were telling me your story, but now that I know this is about 2020, so you're contacting the IGL. You see the website suck because there was a void in the industry. Even like Chris at BioBombs, I'm like, there was no solution for odor control. Everyone was saying things, use ozone generator. Da, da, da. I didn't feel like any of them were actually like experts or knew what they were talking about. I also feel like there was a big gap in the detailing industry for good websites and SEO and everything. And so obviously you kind of you showed up and started to work that space.
Yeah. And I called Mike Carlin, who owns his own shop in Wisconsin, and I said, let me do a website. He's like, how much is it going to cost me? I'm like, best part. This is a test case, baby. This is zero.
Yep,
Mike Carlin, who now owns IGL, was literally my first customer. And then Jeremy Casper and Maurice Brown, who are on legacy pricing of minimal. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And then I called Mike and I said, hey, it's been your first 30 days with the site. How'd it go? He's like, yeah, I'm a little, I didn't expect this. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Did I just like trash his like lead volume and traffic? He goes, yeah, I got like 35 or 40 leads. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, is that good? He's like, yeah, I mean, I might have gotten like 3 or 4 in a year. And he's like, I'm like, oh, you went from like 3 to 4 a year to 35 in a year? He's like, no, 35 in the past month when the website's up. I'm like, wow. And then I did Jeremy's site. Jeremy went from 2 to 3 to 17 to 30. I did Maurice Brown's site. He jumped up. I'm like, okay, I know the website techniques that I've known for years is applicable here. And what do you know, if you put in good writing, if you make conversion buttons like book now, call today, schedule now, get a quote, and you make the website as pretty as possible. If you combine those three things I knew for years of building websites for other different companies, that it's repeatable and exploitable for shops, and shops can really do it. So that's really how it all started. I mean, we went to MTE that one year, or Jesus, this is going back. I'm trying to remember Daryl's trade show that he had in the summer. Daryl passed away, but it was
it the Southern Detailers Conference? No.
Yeah, SDC.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great memory. And we went there, and I sold like 3 sites. I felt like I was like, fuck, this was a failure. I thought I was going to sell like, 20 sites. There was nobody here. I truly felt like a huge failure. I was not happy with myself. And then we just kind of picked up steam, and now, might do that many sites per day, at least. We do a lot of sites. So it's been a thing. It's been a work in progress. If anybody's watching this, if you just start detailing, you just started coding, you just started filming, do intent, don't expect instantaneous success. Be patient, but just keep that consistent of putting in the work, and it will pay out. And, man, it was the best decision I ever did. Go watch, right?
Yeah. Wait, so are you saying to someone just starting out detailing, like, this doesn't happen overnight, even if you have a website or you don't? I mean, because I whether they're going to buy from Detailer's Roadmap and use your services or not, like, what advice do you have for people who are just like, I really love detailing. I don't even know if I want to have employees, but I know I love cleaning cars and I'd like to start making money. Like, any guerrilla bootstrap, like, brand new question. Ideas?
I would break it up into 2 things. One is like guerrilla, exactly what you said, guerrilla technical, kind of what marketing things I could do. And I lay out some of that in my MTE 2025 talk of the analysis of 150K a month businesses. But at the very basic level, start getting comfortable being on camera. Man, the moment I started getting comfortable on camera, my business exploded.
Really?
When I started telling detailers, start getting on camera, they noticed way more qualified people coming in. People were used to seeing their face. It really start getting comfortable being on camera. These people, consumers, don't know that a clean car means you put a coating on it or a film or you did the tint. They don't know. But if they show, you like, oh, this is what we did, and like this, all this stuff, they start to kind of grow to that. And I would tell people, start getting on camera, start getting uncomfortable. You're not growing unless you're uncomfortable, is a famous line, right? If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Because there's a lot of companies that take a lot of photos of shiny cars, and really the difference is the business owner, not the clean car. So that would be one little kind of physical thing you could do that costs nothing.
And I can attribute to that. Like, what did I bring to the table?
Yeah, you
right?
were on camera. I mean, that's how a lot of people found you.
Yeah,
right?
Broadcast journalism background, like doing TV news for more than a decade, 14 years in total. When I left, is like being able to do that is huge. And I've even seen on my local feed, like there's a painting company in my town, and I'm not in the market to get anything painted, but I see them having their employees and the owner like trying to get on social media and be on camera, and like some of these kids are 19.
They're memorable now, right?
But yeah, I know about them. So when I get my house in 5 years, maybe, or whatever, hypothetically, I may call this painting company that I've seen on Instagram. They don't know that I even know about them, but I see their people on camera, and it's like way more interesting than just static shots. We're probably talking about the most rudimentary marketing stuff ever.
Great.
But yeah,
I mean, are you going to look at a house that's been painted? You can't even tell it's been painted half the time. They shoot it so far away,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I'm a big fan of getting on camera. To the point of the second thing I would just say is like before you even come to a website for us, is I focused early on my business, and what we teach a lot of our roadmap partners is experience pays dividends. Dividends. So a lot of times if you look up 8-Bit Creative, the mother company of Detailer's Roadmap, you're going to see a word in almost our 200 online Google reviews. It's communication, transparency, communication. Find out what you want to focus on. But a lot of guys love, if they're getting a coating or a paint correction or detail from you, updates. Hey, just got done finishing this up. Maybe get on camera again, right? Tying it together. Hey, just got done doing this. Here it is. It looks fantastic. I tagged you in a video. Here's the video. All that stuff. People love communication and updates. And if you start putting in like these habitual marketing things of getting on camera and being over communicative with customers, you start to build like referrals very easily, references. You start to build loyalists in your brand, right? You talked about shirts and stuff like that, making cool stuff, right? It's really the same idea. I make cool shirts. I make cool videos for your car when I'm done detailing it. You start to build these like building blocks of a successful business. And it's very SOP-ish, right? You could take this and you could say, hey, when you hire your first guy, I want you to make a video of a midway update, less than 2 minutes, and send it to the customer. And then at the end, say she's all done. Even if they're in the house watching you, who cares? You know, it's good content for social. It's also good content for them. So
even if you're mobile, sending them a video from inside.
Let's go.
Well, yeah,
do
you just do it in your own little like authentic way. Be like, hey, I know you're inside right now, but no need to come out. Just wanted to give you an update. The carpet before looked like this, and look at it what it looks like now without dog hair. Anyway, hope you're having a great day. I'm going to keep working. Yeah, you could just make it your own spin.
Yeah.
I found that was the one thing I got really awkward about was like communicating during the job. And if I were to do it again, that sounds like great advice because Ivan said the same thing of, well, not only did Ivan say the same thing, but when we're in the DIY detail garage in Omaha, we often will detail for folks. We don't charge them. So part of me is like, well, the money's not on the line, so maybe it's different. But it's not really. He will send them updates as we go about the job, and they seem to love it.
Yeah, they love it.
So much so that by the time they come to pick it up, they don't look like they're as suspicious or like nagging or like trying to find the wrong thing. And maybe it's because we're not actually charging them in Omaha, but they just show up. They've been communicated with the whole time. They feel like they've been on the journey and they're just stoked. They're like, thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, you can even do stuff on this video of like calling out like, oh, I saw this gash in this chrome pipe, you know, nothing I could do about it, but, you know, maybe we could talk about something else down the road we can do to fix that. Or, you know, hey, there's this, you know, this might need a paint correction and here's why. And down the road we can talk about it. They like that. Don't sell, serve, right? So just serve them the information and let them decide what they want to do with it, and then prompt them with more questions. They'll love it. So even before we want to talk about a website, my sales guys will literally go look at like, are you on Google Business? Are you on social media? Do you have a website now? We want the most successful websites ever, but we know at the end of the day, it's the business owner, that's going to make that website super successful. You know, are they doing their own marketing? Are they creating their own content? Are they trying to be transparent and communicative with their own customers? Because the worst thing I could do is sell you a website and you do nothing with it. And then you come back to a year later and you say, hey, I didn't get enough leads out of it. And we're going to say, what did you do with it? And you'll be like, I didn't do shit. Okay. Whose fault is it? Was it mine or was it yours? Maybe it's a little column A, column B.
Does your team coach people on what to do when they get the website too, or do you just build the website and kick them to the curb?
No, you can't kick to curb. I would say most of the people that come to us are really in this $20,000 to $75,000 a month businesses typically. So we are tending to get more of a tenured shop for sure. But we get guys that I just opened up last year and and that is a kickoff for Pat, one of the sales guys. He'll say, hey, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. Can you tell me a little bit about your sales process or how you get, if we hear inklings, like, yeah, let's do a site for this fucking guy. Like he understands, he knows what he's doing. So we take people from guys working out of their garage to, we have maybe over 80 or 90 at this time shops that do over $100,000 a month. So we kind of have the spectrum.
Wow. Do you Do you like auto detailing?
I like personally to detail my own car. Yes. Do I like auto detailing? I like business. I'm a very I think my content says that too, right? Like how can you make your detailing business better? I love to detail cars. I love paint correcting because of Oberk, right? I mean, if you give me a car to paint correct, let's go. Let's do it. It's like my favorite thing.
What's your favorite combo from Oberk? Like, what are you going to reach for first?
He launched it after I left, which is, of course, the better product always after you leave. I like that Soul product.
Soul. I heard good things. Yeah.
I like Soul quite a bit. I helped market and sell the product for years, so that's all I ever used. But I just like the simplicity of 3 pads or 3 compounds. What can we make up? Now I only polish maybe 3 cars a year at best now, so I might be a little phased out. But when I get a new car, the first thing I'm looking to do is polish and coat for sure.
I wanted to ask you this earlier. Did you have a nickname as a kid?
No, not really. DiGiorno, Digadani, something. No, nothing really. Butterball, Butterbean. No.
Do you have a nickname now, like on your team?
Sometimes I get Farley a little bit, like before and after.
Okay.
I'm a little animated.
What gets you animated? Like, what are you excited about?
Things like this, talking about business and getting excited and jazzed up, and I love, man, I could if someone paid me to talk all day, I'd be happy. Kevin Davis, who does our podcast, I tell him all the time, I'm like, you have the best job ever. You podcast for us. Like, I think that's just envious of what you get to do. You get to talk and learn more about people. And I think that's honestly some of the most fun things for sure.
What's clear to me is that you're definitely interested in people. Like, you care about people. And when you said serve, don't sell, I was like, wow, that is so beautiful. Because one thing I've been thinking about too, and the only thing that I would complain about my gig is I don't go to an office, so I'm a work from home guy now these days.
Sure.
Ivan and I meet up a few times a year in Omaha, and we just like shoot content for 12, 14 hours a day. Like, we just go hard.
Ham.
And then we just have like hours and hours of footage, and it's sifting through and scheduling and editing. And I just miss being around people. That's it. Other than that, yeah, it's an amazing, I love the detailing industry.
It's great.
What drives you crazy about detailers or business owners or would-be business owners, or what's
Let's
the one
go,
thing?
Nick. That's a great question.
I was told Chris is a great guest, but you got to get him amped up. You got to get him a little spicy. So I'm just trying to get you there.
I think, okay, so you said what drives me crazy about detail shop owners or detail business owners. I think, so there's a thing that happens for us in November and December is that we know it comes every year, right? Been doing this for quite a long time now, but we get a onslaught of people that flip out, and they flip out because business slows down. Now, if you're in Florida, you're in Arizona, you're in maybe California where it's warmer, maybe the flip out is not as severe, but definitely in the Midwest and the East Coast, there is a severe flip out that affects, I would say on average, between 10 to 20% minimum of the entire detailing industry. And so what this flip out is business has slowed down. Less people are searching, less people are demanding a detail, a coding, stuff like that. And we tend to notice, what drives me nuts is that these people simply existed from March to October. They didn't do those proactive marketing things like email their customers once a month, talk to their top 25 customers per year. Did you do that 3 or 4 times? Why would you not reach out to your top 25 customers? Like, just say, hey, how you been?
Just that? Does it have to be SOP, or how do you know the top 25? I feel like you've got all the systems.
If you use a CRM, you could pull that data out. You're able, Detail Bookie, QuickBooks, for God's sakes. Like, it's not very hard.
Do y'all not have a CRM? Do you recommend like a You're Able, or are you not CRM?
I don't make a specific recommendation to CRM because each one is so wildly different from each other. Like, they do so many different things, and you'll tend to love one or the other. we do see a lot of like You're Able or Bisex, see a lot of those. I mean, some people, even at a Square level, even if you just take money from Square and Stripe, you're 3 clicks away from finding your top 25 customers. It's very easy. But like going back to that March, November thing is like some of these detailers will just simply exist. I'm here. I can do the service for you. But part of having a successful business is proactiveness, not being reactive. And so in November, when the flip outs occur, it's reactive business owners. And there is a pattern. And I showed that on that MTE kind of slide. There is 100% a pattern to reactive business owners. Barely social media post, never emails their customers, doesn't update their pricing on their website, doesn't get on camera. There is literally a pattern of reactive business owners. Proactive business owners, I never fucking hear from them. Never. Hey, really? I'm just doing my check-in. Looks like things are great. Anything we suggest we should move for change, and usually a lot of times it's us prompting them, right? Proactive business owner. Those proactive business owners always on social media, getting on camera, emailing customers at least 1 to 2 times a month. There is a definable mindset of, are you a technician or are you a business owner? The technicians call us in November. They're freaking out. Business is slow. What can I do? Motherfucker, you're too late. You should have thought about this 6 months ago. Let's wake up. Did you know snow was coming? Like, it's a real thing. Little flecks fall from the sky and people go, I don't need to detail every day because salt is going to arrive the moment I pull out of that garage, right? Yeah. Like, you're late. It's okay. You can change your pattern or you can go through this hell every single year. What are you going to choose?
So from where you sit, there's a guy who does it part-time, maybe on the weekends or maybe more than the weekends, because that was me doing it part-time / full-time.
Yep, nights and weekends, right?
Yeah, and those nights are long, as we know. I'm sure you've had a lot of long nights with all the hats you've worn. And then there's the single operator who's either mobile or has a shop and they're just doing it. Then there's like moving on to that and having the shop and hiring guys and gals, whatever. Is there a sweet spot in there to you? Like, is there a happiness quotient? Like, where these are the people that seem the happiest? Because if you have a business and you got 10 guys and you're dealing with all the personal lives, I've heard people say that's a headache too, right? So, is there like one kind of sweet spot in all of those, or where do you think people should aspire to be? Are there different considerations? Like, this is the world you live in, so I just want to know your thoughts on.
Yeah, I mean, happiness tends to happen for a lot of these guys at certain plateaus of business. It's a great question. I think everybody's happiness is different. I see some of the happiest guys I've ever seen at $15,000 a month, and I've seen a lot of guys who are super happy at $250,000 a month. So there's a wide range. I've seen some miserable fuckers at both, right? So, I think, to call on my friend Grant Menard, not to give him too much of a plug, but he always did this thing, which I've always done a version of, which is, what do you love in your day-to-day business? What do you want to do? What do you hate doing? And what are you just okay with doing? And I think if you really write all those 3 columns down, I love doing this. I fucking hate doing this. And I'm okay doing this. I'd like to get it off my plate soon. The more you get out of that hate column into somebody else, that's when you tend to get to that happiness level. So the guy who's doing $15,000 a month, he might love paint corrections and talking to people, but he doesn't want to really go beyond that. And he's okay with being booked out 3 weeks, and Ivan has said if anything more than 3 days is terrible. Whereas the guy who's the high level shop owner might love time off and being with family more, and work is not life, right? Everybody's a little bit different. And I would say start with those columns. What do you want to try and get off your plate? Well, not everybody wants. I love to work personally. I'm so happy. I get to come into work and I do what I love to do. If I sat home and did nothing all day, I probably wouldn't like it, to be honest. But there's agency owners that are smaller than me that take vacation 8 months out of the year. You know, to me, that's miserable. I wouldn't do it.
I feel like a vacation might be a trip to MTE for you, even though that's a ton of work, because that MTE speech you gave, I could just tell you were in your element. Like you were loving that and having a good time with it.
Love serving people some good information, what they can do with it. So, you know, there is no one answer of like 15, 25K, 75K a month. But I would definitely look at your business and say, what do I love about it? And what do I hate about my day to day? And can I hire someone or outsource those hate portions? And does that mean you have to grow the business to hire that? You know, it's real things you have to think about.
Yeah.
But if you have a plan, a lot of times you'll start working towards it. So
what if you don't have a plan though?
Yeah,
right?
you're fucked. If you don't have a plan.
But it's writing the things down might help you get to a plan.
Yeah. I mean,
because we can be super busy doing things and never spend the time to write down what you actually want. That's how I was.
Yep.
I had my full-time career in the newscasting, and then I was doing detailing on the side, and I was just so busy just trying to drive from one place and make it to the appointment and get the job done well, and then maybe make some YouTube videos that I didn't really like write down, like, what do I like? What do I not like? And I don't know. There's so many holes in that. I look back and I'm like, it's so interesting.
And you did kind of something similar I did, is like you had like 3 or 4 things going on. And I feel like once I started narrowing down tighter and tighter and tighter, whether it's my day to day or even just the job, right? Of full-time job and doing this at night. Once I started narrowing down, I started finding my happy spots more and more and more. I'm assuming you kind of go through a similar phase of like just not loving this part of my life.
Yeah, no, I was definitely disgruntled in terms of like the news business for a while, and I always felt like there was something more for me. And then, yeah, auto detailing just finds people, right? Like you get the new car, which is what I did. It was like a Subaru Legacy, but boy, I learned to clean that from YouTubers, and I thought maybe I could. I felt like that there was something else for me in my life, and yeah, starting the business. I don't know if I was meant to be like a solo entrepreneur detailing, and I never took it to. I tried having an assistant and a business partner, and I could have like. I swung and I missed, and then I kind of gave up in some ways. So I have so much admiration for guys who are out there running successful auto detailing shops. Like, is there something unique about detailing? Do we make it harder on ourselves? Like, from where you sit, you know, why is it so hard for a lot of folks to become successful business people in the detailing space?
I think it's a lot of flying by the seat of their pants.
Yep.
And I think going back to that plan and using contextual and habitual marketing, or being habitual in your business, will save you a lot of pain later. Okay. And so like, if you don't know your numbers, you can't come to your numbers once a year with your accountant and then act surprised. If you're habitual with it and you check in once a month, you'll understand, hey, I don't make a lot of money doing this. Maybe I should transition this. Same thing with marketing. A lot of these guys, we get a lot of guys that are like doing great, doing like $50,000 a month. And then like one ad doesn't hit with them. We don't run ads. This is just an outside perspective.
Okay.
One ads don't hit. And then they freak out. Oh, the ads didn't work. Well, you know, and one of us will ask, what else were you doing this whole time while you were making all those coatings and doing that $50,000 a month business? What were you doing to grow your business when those ads didn't hit that 1 week, that 1 month? And 9 times out of 10, you find didn't do shit. Didn't focus on customer experience. Didn't reach out to customers. Didn't make social media. It's kind of what I would just tell you is like, pick a few things you can be habitual with. That's okay to be uncomfortable with at the same time. And you build these building blocks to successfulness. Before we ever built 10 websites a week, you know, I literally focused on a communication platform of when someone builds a website, I want them to be literally in the know. I don't want one fucking question of like, where are we at with the process? Right. Okay. That's like a very website design, you know,
customer
thing out
question.
there. Where the fuck are we? What's going
yeah.
on? Da, da, da. I fucking hated those questions, and I get it. I understand it, but I focused on building a communication CRM portion of like every step. They get texted, called, or emailed of every single step. I haven't had a where are we at in the website development process in probably 3 years.
I just realized, have I ever minded if I order something online when they tell me, we've received your order. Your order has been shipped. Your order is on the way. Your order should arrive Thursday. Like, I love seeing that stuff. Don't you?
Yeah. And
I never mind it.
It stops the question, right? Too. It's like,
Yes.
and then you're like, oh, even if there's a delay, you're okay that you're informed because they were proactive. Now, if they had to like, if you put in an order on Monday and you didn't get a notification by, let's say you're cool and you just let things go for a week or 10 days, you're immediately pissed that you have to reach out to the shop of like, hey, what's going on here? Nobody wants to go through that process. So think of it from a detailing perspective. How could you, coming back to the shop piece, how could you do that? We talked about when you have a customer, you can give them a little bit of being on camera. But what even about like, hey, I'm on the way to detail your car? Or, hey, we said it's going to take 5 days to film the car. Here's that midday process update on Tuesday. And Thursdays come up. Hey, it's still looking like it's going to be ready to go. Or I'm running a little behind, but I wanted to take care of a couple things on your thing. Monday would probably work better for you to make sure everything's tidied up. Poof, the shoulders will just drop once you give that communication. So
for you too, actually, it might feel good for you to communicate.
I feel good
that
just talking about it, right?
I felt the shoulders drop. Like, I actually want to know, how do I take this stuff and apply it to my life? So enough about detailing businesses. How do I take what you've learned about communication and business and marketing that has worked for people building their businesses? How can I incorporate that into my life to make my life better? Taking the detailing hat off. I'm just a human being. I got people in my life that maybe I could communicate better to, or I don't know, like family, friends, relationship. I don't know. Drop some wisdom.
Yeah. I started something this year because I've been so business focused last few years. This year I wrote down 5 names of people I have not talked to in 6 to 12 months that I really enjoy genuine conversations with. And they might not be I won't take it personal if they can't, hey, I've got kids, I've got stuff going on, but I wrote right down a list of like people I haven't talked to in a while. They're my top 25 customers of my life. How come I'm not talking to them? And what do you know? I'm hanging out with a couple buddies I haven't seen in a couple years, and they're like, oh, this is great. We should do this more often. Yeah, it sucks. It's going to be me having to push them, but I'm okay with that. And I always joke with my wife. I'm like, I wish I had a wife CRM. Let her know you're okay when the flight came on. Hey, this food was great. I wish you were here.
That's your own CRM. You got to work on.
That's $1 million idea right there. The wife CRM. Here we go.
How do you feel like the CRM though has, and the communication, do you feel like that's improved your communication in life, like actually with other humans, whether it's business or not?
Yeah, I think it makes connections too, right? Like, people know who I am through my content. People know who Maddie, Taylor, Jenny, Pat, Melissa are because they do introductions, they do videos. I just feel like this world is going to a place where everybody's excited about AI, and technology always takes us so many more steps further. But at the end of the day, who wins at life and who wins at business is personal connections and communication. The more communicative and the more personable you are and just talk to people and be that proactive reach out, you'll tend to reap those rewards over and over and over if you want to be selfish with it. You know what I mean? So,
well, yeah, I've just been thinking about that in my life of I need to be making the effort to put myself out there, to make friends, to build connections. Like, nobody's going to do it for me. We're not in school anymore where you're surrounded by your peers.
Yeah.
every
and
single day.
when we hit 35, what happens? All the friends have kids. You know, if you're a single guy, like I'm married, but we don't have kids, but like there's like divisions that occur right within your friends group, and it's okay. But you know, I'm sure there's people that you haven't talked to in 5, 10 years that would love to hear back from you, and give it 3, 4, 5 times a year, or try it out. And if they don't respond, it's cool. It's on
Yeah,
them. You gave it a shot. No big deal.
that's a good idea. What are you
Nick's gonna
excited
call me
about?
after this.
What are you excited about? Chris, what's going on, man?
What am I excited about? I'm excited about this podcast.
As you should be.
As it should be. I'm
I
excited.
just realized 45 minutes into it that I didn't change the background to Nick at night, but I like that. Usually I have like, you know, the fireplace behind me. Dude, this look. What's happening with your camera?
I must have triggered the zoom on my thing. That's great. Your background screwed up and my thing immediately.
That was amazing.
That's
That
great.
was the best moment of the podcast. But you know what? Vibes are high, butts are low. Here we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a DIY detail company man. You can find our products at DIYdetail.com. No, this is on the House of Rags. So find DIY Detail at thehouseofrags.com where you can support us as well. They're one of our favorite distributors. So, do you miss Oberk?
Did you have that question written down?
No, I just have some good quotes. I got some time codes here on my DIY Detail notepad.
Nice.
And then I take these little time code notes and I try to make an interesting montage because, you know, people are busy. People are busy. They got stuff going on. So that's what I'm doing over here.
Do I miss Oberk? I was never a great product guy, if that makes sense. Like I come from product marketing. I miss the camaraderie of having a business owner or business partner. That was always fun. David and I, even though a lot of times, sometimes we might have butted heads on issues, he always brought something unique that I didn't ever think of. And that was always super cool of like to see it through his lens. Sometimes I feel like he didn't look through my lens, you know, and maybe I didn't verbalize that enough, but I do really miss throwing shit at the wall with someone. That was always fun. Now I hire those type of people and it's fantastic, but the partnership was a goal alignment was always really fun. And nothing's more exciting than seeing all that work just shoot up. And boy, was there just Oberk was on such a massive pitch up. And I still feel like he does quite a bit with the brand. You know, he's always doing neat products and stuff. But yeah, I do miss that partnership, that fundamental level. It was always a good time.
What would you say to someone? Because I had a business partner, who actually randomly met up in town the other day. And we just sort of like, we're like, because I'd been texting him and he wasn't texting me back. I mean, it was a bad breakup. And I was just like trying to reconnect. So I'm like, I love this man like a brother. Like we had our disagreements, but like we were in the trenches for a lot of really vivid months, maybe a couple years. It's like a blur to me now. But we reconnected, a little dap, a little hug. How are things? And that was really healing for me to just kind of have that part of my life.
Resolved.
Yeah, I feel like resolved. Yeah, it's a great way. Perfect word. What would you say to someone though? Like, because business partners are not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
And when you're getting into it, you're like, I'm going to do this all by myself. I love cleaning cars. Look, they're paying me money. And I make some videos about it. Now they're calling me and I don't have to market because this is me just saying how it was.
Yeah,
me.
no, it's
and I
great.
don't want to have to market. I just want them to call me and I'm so flattered every time they call me and then you're like, I'm going to take a business partner on and maybe they'll solve the things that I'm bad at. And then we can just keep growing and business partners are not easy.
I don't think business partners are easy at all. I mean, sometimes I've only had one partnership, so I'm not probably the best use case. I probably didn't have the cleanest break, even though it was decided together, like you're going to be the owner and I'm going to do my exit over whatever time frame. And I've reached out to try and kind of heal, and it's not reciprocated, and that's okay. You know, that really hurt a long time. And I realized that whatever I did to him must have felt too deep, and that maybe that pain will never heal. I don't know. I'd like to help heal it, but I would definitely say from a partnership standpoint, really look at that chart again. What are you weakest at, or what do you feel like you don't bring to the table? And sometimes it's not finding a friend, it's finding someone who brings those pieces to the table that you don't offer. I think that's where me and David were always really good, is that he brought so much product knowledge, so much, just God, I learned so much from the guy. And he didn't have a lot of marketing stuff. And so we were a good fit. But I think the problem with that one is we were friends first, so everything kind of felt a little personal,
Same with me. Yeah.
Yeah. So
how do you find these people? How do you find these mystical
I'm not the
like
guy.
partner creatures that are perfect? Like usually you
tap
find
out on this question. I'm not the guy. I don't know.
You start as a friend usually, right? It's like we can do this together. And
or you start thinking of inklings of like, would you want to come on a journey? And here's what I think the journey looks like. Those really preliminary conversations before you even become partners is like, what does this look like? And I can't do the 5-10 year thing. I know a lot of people are like, give me your 10-year journey. Like, fuck you. Like, I know what I'm doing tomorrow and maybe Sunday, but I try and draw out at least a 1-2 kind of plan of what I think this could look like. And you want someone who's like, yeah, or you'll find out I don't jive with that. And that's okay. And that tells you, is that the person, or are you better off doing your solo thing? In my instance, I was better doing the solo thing. So, and that's okay.
when you look at detailers solo, what's the best case scenario that you think is possible? It's not a mirage, it's not a dream, where someone decides, I'm better alone. Like for me, if DIY detail ever came to an end, I really hope it doesn't. I want to be doing this in 20 years from now. Seriously, it's been so much fun.
That's awesome.
If it somehow comes to an end, like everything does, right? We all die. So do our relationships and eventually everything. I don't know. I don't want to get too philosophical.
Damn.
But if I got back into it, like I would want to do one car a day in like a dope ass, like Tony Ralda design detailing van or an awesome shop, probably in my garage where it's just me. No one's messing with me. Everything's where I want it to be. My towels are where they are. Like, I would just want to do me. Like, what is the best case scenario financially, business wise, that you've seen where it's like, it's just one person. They can't hire it out. They literally can't do it all, but they can do the best that they can and whatever. What does that look like from where you sit?
From a financial standpoint, or just like overall?
Financial / happiness / what does that person do? Like, and how much work do they take on? And like, is it sustainable, right? Because I know it's a young man's game, but like I said, I would want to do like almost like Carlos Serrano, and he's got his YouTube channel and he does one like interior a day and he charges accordingly. And I feel like he's got a great life. But from, you're making these websites and you see so many different businesses out there. What's the ceiling for happiness and money for a one-person operation?
Yeah. There's a lot out there. I mean, if you're doing film, you could do as much as $250,000 a year as a solo guy. That's the top that you can do, unless you have some wacky dealership account that I'm not aware of, like some guy who does Koenigseggs or something like that. Most I've ever seen a solo guys do about $250 a year. From those guys, and there's probably about 9 or 10 of them that we have, I'd say a majority of them are pretty stressed out from what I see.
Really?
If you knock it down and say detailing and coating, probably the most that I've really ever seen is like 150 to 170, maybe. So that's a lot of work, and
that's not like what you take home, obviously. That's just sales.
That's revenue of the company, and, minus everything, what do they get back? I couldn't tell you.
Right.
A lot of guys seem happy in this kind of like 55 to 80 range, quite a bit. I will say this, taking up like Carlos Serrano or Tony Raldas, Tony from Raldas Detail, which, by the way, did you notice he started posting videos of him and where mid-progress updates with his customers?
Is he one of your clients?
He's not. He was in my talk.
Okay.
He shot me. And now I think going to that is like, if you want to do one car a day and you want to give it your all and you want to do a mix of detailing or coatings, just write it down. I want to do this. and I need to earn this. And then I want to have this type of shop, which is there's some expenses here. What do I need to make as a company to afford one car a day? Does that mean my detail is $100 now? No, it means it's probably 400, and just reverse engineer the life that you would like to have. It's a little harder on the startup, right? If no one knows you, it might be a little harder to get $400 a detail, right? But I would reverse engineer the life you want. Okay. And that's the same thing I did with my business. I said, I want to work this much. I want to make this much. And so it's actually really easy for me now to know when I want to hire or can hire, because I literally look at like, oh, well, I don't want to do this in my job anymore. And I know I make what I want to make. Let's just hire that person who will love that section of my job. So reverse engineer your life. If you say, hey, I need to make 100 grand, let's just throw a number out, 100 grand. And I got to be in this amazing shop. Well, does that shop cost you $1,500 a month to rent, or is that your garage? Just reverse engineer how to get there. It's not terribly hard. If you don't want to be the website guy or the SEO guy, ding, 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 call me, put it in your pricing.
There you go. I love it.
But just reverse engineer what you don't want to do and want to do. And it's going to be very easy for you to be like, damn, I have 20 working days a month. I want to take four vacations. I want to take 3 weeks of vacations off. I need this type of shop. I need to rent this. Oh, I need to make $622 a day. You'll be able to reverse engineer your working amount.
I've heard Ivan say this so many times, but I feel like the way you just described it made it seem a lot more like fun.
Let's go.
Not doable. It's not impossible, but it just sounded more fun and like, oh yeah, I could do that.
Just for shits, draw it out.
I could probably do that in 15 minutes. Like,
yeah.
Right. And I was like, but I've never done that.
And just figure out all the stuff that you think you're going to spend on. Just throw some ideas in and reverse engineer it. And you'll be like, yeah, $150,000 a month or $150,000 a year business does have $60K of expenses somewhere in there, right? And that is 90,000. Is that happy for you to live on? And then I have to sell this much per day when people come to me and say, hey, I have a minimum detail charge of $500. Let's fucking go. You in, you're out, Yeah. It takes confidence level. There's a confidence thing that occurs, but
got to bring that BDE. Come on now.
Yeah.
JK. So you're telling me that the solo people out there, seem pretty stressed out. Like that may not be
at that top tier level. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes they're the November freakout guys, believe it or not, right?
Because they're wearing all the hats.
Wearing all the hats, baby.
So what's the sweet spot in terms of employees? How many do you have, by the way?
I got quite a bit. We have a decent amount. I don't love saying the number because I don't love being known for the size of our company. I will say this, with everybody involved, we're over 20. It seems a lot of guys achieve, going back to your question you asked 20 minutes ago, and shame on me for not answering it. But it seems like a lot of guys take that I love column and I hate column, and they usually find 3 to 5 employees to take that hate column, right? I don't want to do paint correction, or maybe I don't want to do sales, or maybe I don't want to talk to customers and I want to do the paint corrections. It tends to be somewhere in that like 3-person to 5-person personnel of a shop, which naturally almost always gets you to around $300,000 to $600,000 shop.
So 3 to 5 is okay?
Yeah, screw it.
Because I remember going to this John Don training in Chicago. It was like this carpet cleaning janitorial training.
I remember that. Every time I see you, I think of the carpet training. I don't know why. You're the only guy that has ever like picked up on carpet cleaning, by the way, that I've ever seen.
It's the only thing I brought to the detailing industry is the janitorial carpet cleaning, and I stand by it. Ivan says you get the seats too wet. And I'm like, I still love the damn extractor, man. But anyway, they were trying to turn us into business owners too, right? And one thing they said is like between 0 and 10 employees is no man's land. That you want to get out of there as quickly as possible to like a 10+ employee. And I'm sure they gave reasons for that, and I just wondered what that, because it seems like there's a lot of successful shops out there who have a few guys, 3, 4 guys, and obviously nothing's perfect, and everyone makes it seem probably better on the outside than it really is, but seems like they're doing pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that reverse engineer thing I was talking about is like a lot of guys don't do that, and they don't know their profit. I talked to a shop the other day. He's doing $1 million shop, and he was like, well, I don't know if I can afford SEO. I want to do these TV ads. I'm like, how are you doing $1 million and you can't afford $12.99 or $17.99 a month, whatever it was in his area? Well, I don't. I'm like, don't do SEO. He's like, whoa, right? Sell, serve, don't sell. Watch this.
Yeah.
Why are you not making any money? Do you pay yourself an exorbitant amount of money? Like, are you crushing the business out of cash flow? No, I make like 60 grand. I'm like, are you miserable? Yeah, kind of. I'm like, is the bills killing you? Yes. And, find out, you dig a little deeper. This guy's into an ad company for like 16 grand a month. That's not a slam on ad companies. I want to put that out there. But what I'm trying to say is, before I go off on that little tangent, is like remanufacture what you want to make and reverse engineer. If you're not happy on $1 million business, something's wrong somewhere in there. Are we overemployed? Are we spending too much on marketing? Does my location kill me? Something in there isn't going to fit, because yes, SEO will help that business grow, but am I adding to your problem, or it's just to be another problem that's even bigger 3, 6, 9 months down the road? Or should you have looked at the business as a whole and say, fuck, man, this piece here is stressing me out, and this is why I can't take my kids out to Disney, once every couple of years. So reverse engineer what you want to make. A lot of people talk about that revenue number, and even I do. But what's more important to me, and we've always done it, is the net. What were you left after everything? And that's why I think that reverse engineering thing works a lot better, is like, what are you left with? Because if you're left with nothing, this was all for fucking nothing.
So let's workshop this. We don't have to take this podcast too much longer, but how do I reverse engineer this? Let's just give some people a little hope out there. So let's say you want to make 100K. So you write that number down. Then what do you do? Yep.
So take all your, let's just assume it's a business that's been in operation for at least a year. Just let's throw it out there so we have it. You have a way to find out what you bought last year, right? You go to DIY, you bought Detailed Image, whatever it is. You go to these companies and you can see just one massive list of everything you bought. A lot of that, 80% of it, is probably repeating year over year over year, right? You're going to buy this amount of chemicals, this pads, microfibers, whatever. So there's one expense column you have. So 100 grand minus I spend $2,500 on, let's say, towels and stuff. Okay. I want a shop. I want a fantastic shop. Cool. What is that going to cost you? $1,500 a month. Hey, is there any ancillary costs outside of the business that the business just needs to absorb? Yes. There's insurance. There's LLC, stuff like that. Okay. What is that going to cost you? Well, all this stuff is going to cost me $2,500 a year. So you just start breaking some of these expenses down.
Cell phone, gas if you're mobile, car payment. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
And then when you break all that down and you start with that 100 number and you see those columns, right? It's very accounting-like: expenses, gas, insurance, phone. And if you're left with that and you say, okay, I'll just say easy number, $50,000, and I want to work how many days? I think there's 240, or how many working days are in a year? How many working days in a year? 260.
Okay.
Let's say you want to work 200. Let's say you're going to go fucking crazy this year and you don't want to work a lot. So you just take $50,000. You divide it by 200 working days. You need to make $250 net profit after everything.
Every day? Every working day?
Yep. So you need to do $500 essentially per day, right? So I took the net after everything, and then I just got it to the gross profit. So you need to sell $500 over 200 days to.
So not every day. Every day that you're working needs to be a $500.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you extend the working days out further, I gave somebody here 2 months off. So if you say I only need 1 month off, then the number actually gets lower. It's just an easier way to break down the business of like, man, if I don't sell this much, it almost helps people to like change their pricing a lot. Like if they look at their details and like, man, I was fucking 119. I'm busting my fucking balls fucking for 2 hours. Like it almost turns their head into a value instead of being paid per hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you might have made $60 an hour cleaning that car, but really what value did you bring that customer? Is it worth $500 or was it only worth $220? It's a lot easier to get one customer for $500 than four for $100.
I love it. Do you have any final thoughts, Chris? I know we could talk about all kinds of detailing subjects forever.
No, this is so off topic. I appreciate it. And some of it was on topic and some was off topic. Just want to say thanks for having me on.
How's your personal journey outside of business? How's
fucking
life?
Great.
Is it?
Love it. Got an R34 Skyline coming in the next month. I'm ready. Let's go, Fat Paul Walker. Paul Walker. Let's go. I'm Fat Paul Walker. Fuck you, Vin Diesel. I'll never be your size, but Paul Walker, I'm fat. I could do it.
I see the Farley thing now. I see it. I see it.
For sure.
What about that green Audi of yours? That thing is stunning.
Yeah, that's the daily driver. Everything's great.
Do you get a lot of looks on that thing?
Yes. And the plate doesn't help either.
What does it say?
Feet pics.
Oh, what?
So my wife drives the car once in a while and she would get weird questions like, what do you do? Oh, it's my husband's car. And so I'm like, let's just put the most ostentatious plate on it. So we put feet pics on it. I'll send you it for B-roll so you can have it.
Perfect.
So we put feet pics on it. And yeah, it's the most loud 600 horsepower wagon there is. It's green. It's vibrant. I love it. No days off, trying to work out every day since Jan 1. I'm pretty much there except MTE. So finding great people and I'm finding great employees and I'm finding great business owners that want to partner with us. Dude, I'm hitting my fucking stride. I'm so fucking happy right now. I'm on cloud 10. So not 11, 10, because the base only goes up to 10.
10's amazing. I don't think I've ever been on Cloud 10 before. Chris, it was a pleasure talking with you. I don't think this is the last time we're going to chat, and I appreciate you sharing your wisdom. If folks want to reach out to you, your team, how can they do that?
Just detailersroadmap.com. You can, if you want to talk about if we think we might be a fit for you, go to Detailers Roadmap. We can kind of analyze your data, see if we're a fit for you for a website, or you can just join. We have a Facebook group, Detailers Roadmap Pro Group. You can consume my content. We try and give you as many little building blocks to make your business successful. You won't really see me on there selling websites. Boom, say.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.